business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Welcome to episode 105 of Not a Real Job, a podcast that's all about podcasting. I'm Joel, and I podcast in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I'm Chris, and I podcast in Podcast Land.
Where's that?
That is adjacent to blogging land and video casting land.
So I believe vlogging, and that's
vlogging land. How could I even
one of the Dakotas?
Well, we call them the blogs now.
Dakota's Fanning.
No relation. No connection. She lives over in Hollywood land, I believe. You may have heard that term before. Anyway.
I saw the film Hollywood Land. It wasn't very good. Ben Affleck.
Are you saying that Ben Affleck was the cause of its not goodness? Or was he sort of adjacent to that?
Actually, I think Adrian Brody was the reason that movie sucked. Ben Affleck was actually pretty good in it.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to say Diane Lane? No.
Diane Feinstein.
Diane. Could have been anyone.
Could have been any of the Dianes. There are a lot of Dianes.
Oh, too many, if you ask me. First of all, I think we should get this out in the open because people have if there's anyone left that hasn't thrown their Apple EarPods out the window.
What are you waiting for?
First of all, yeah. Second, based on the sound of my voice, it is because I have misplaced my microphone. I moved. I purchased a house, an abode. A hoose. We call them hooses up here. And so at some point, the microphone disappeared. Someone absconded with it. It had been spotted recently, hence why I just realized it was gone about 5 minutes before this recording, because I was pretty certain I knew where it was. It would just be a matter of plugging in cords and cables, and we'd be ready to go. But upon further investigation, it was gone.
Now, does that mean, because you have seen it recently, that you have inadvertently, perhaps, or advertently, moved into a neighborhood with an element, a component, a running theme, if you will, of burglary and thievery?
I would say that's almost a guarantee. We knew that going in. We're extremely well armed.
I will say the Yellow House probably makes you a target.
I would say it does seem a little like we're teasing the criminal element. We are baiting them. We're flaunting our excess. The house is painted gold mostly, so people know. Despite the small stature of the house, we do want people to know that we're wealthy. And I think the fact that we're new money is really
the nouveau riche.
Yeah, I think that's what upsets the burglars. I believe we're being burglarized by old moneyed people who don't like
old
that.
Faux rich.
Exactly. Who don't like the fact that we have microphones, we have yellow house paint. Basically, I think the issue is they don't like podcasts.
Well, who does really?
I don't. I've never listened to a podcast.
It's an uninteresting, unfun medium.
I don't even know that these are being uploaded anywhere.
It is hard to say.
Are you doing that? Because I haven't been doing that.
I have not been doing that.
Well, great.
We are podcasting into the ether.
105 episodes, never uploaded.
No one has heard a single one. It's a time capsule, though, I think.
I think so, of our deteriorating friendship.
Indeed. So, what are you drinking, if anything?
Nothing.
Wow. Have you lost the liquor too?
No, that's almost all gone though for different reasons. No, I just forgot to bring like a glass of water or something with me. I'm up in we'll call it my office at this point. It appears to be where all the crap is being stored, and I don't have a desk. So I'm sitting in an office chair surrounded by boxes and loose papers. I have my laptop on my lap, obviously, where it belongs. It's not plugged in, so hopefully the battery will last this entire recording. And I'm really just, if you think of like guerrilla podcasting, like that's with a U, not with not as in the ape.
Oh, there are no great apes.
No, well, I'm a great ape.
Well,
grade A ape. If were you to picture someone doing the worst possible podcast record, I think you would have a pretty vivid and accurate imagination of what's happening right now.
Well, I mean, it does help that when you say worst podcast recording, people typically think of the both of us.
Right. If you look it up in the Pictionary, that's the podcast dictionary, and under W for worst, it's a beautiful stipple portrait of the two of us, I will say. But we're right there.
Yeah. We are the definition.
Yeah. Who do you think it would be best in the Pictionary?
Who would be best?
Sarah Koenig cereal.
I was going to say either that or your Ira glasses.
I don't have Ira glasses. My eyes work great. Does Ira Glass have his own brand of eyeglasses?
If not, I think he certainly should.
Because it would be EYE-RA glasses. Ira glasses.
Right. I get it.
Should we send him a letter about this? Do you get it that he's got both the... He would read a letter? Well, he can't see. He's blind in both eyes.
He's got people for that.
Yeah. He's got Piz from Veronica Mars. That's a little Veronica Mars reference for people who watch that show. What do you think we should talk about today? Other than, I think we should keep it short because this has got to be just grating on people's ears. Steve, if you could just fix this in post, that would be great. Otherwise, what I was thinking is that I could re-record my side of this conversation once I find my microphone. I might mix things up, but I feel like... Yeah, I feel like I could have done a few better goofs, so I might take a couple different passes at it. But if not, I'd like Steve to just clean it up if he could.
Make it as good as possible. Which is
take
to
out
say
the hisses and the clicks. Not very.
So
maybe Steve could just ADR this. Steve, feel free to just record your own voice talking about whatever, and Chris can go on babbling about whatever he's talking about. I don't listen to his side of the conversation anyway. And just do what you can.
Joel's a big bupkis.
Bupkis, really? I know. Sorry, I think you were going to announce a topic.
I was going to try. That was very short-lived. Well, why don't we talk about what's been going on in the world of Firsthand since we last did a PCast here.
We have shut down. And that's it. Closed up shop.
Cool.
Yep. I decided this recently. I meant to tell you, but I logged into the cPanel. I've redirected the domain to joelkelly.ca. Yeah. No, we have a huge official partner. So I mean, I don't want to spoil too much of the big reveal, but I guess the big thing is
you are not the huge partner, although you are a huge partner.
I see what you're saying. No, absolutely. We have another partner that is huge in the more practical sense, as in credible and a large organization, not just based on sheer physical size, which I believe you were referring to.
I may have been.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's we received a question. Actually, let's just answer that question, shall we?
Sure.
Yeah, we still do get listener questions from time to time. It may seem like we don't, but let's. I'm going to read this question from Manuel, and we'll just answer that. Hey there, I haven't written you in a while. I thank you though. Thank you for writing though, Manuel. Though it has been too long, we missed you. He goes on. I was just listening to your last episode where you talked about Firsthand and wanted to ask what you plan to do for marketing. What would be the most effective way to market a new and somewhat specialized product? Also, I'd be happy to help out some. Thank you, Manuel. We will probably be in touch. So yeah, I mean, Chris can talk about a few other things, but I want to talk about partnerships. For any new product, it's definitely one of the first things that you should think about, because at a certain point, what partnerships are all about is being able to trade on someone else's credibility as an established business or as an established organization or an established personality, and making that, of course, an actual trade. So we're giving something to our partner, and our partner is essentially giving us the rights to use them in our marketing material. So when people read about it, they say Firsthand, oh, they're partnering with XYZ company. We've heard of that. So therefore, Firsthand has some of that borrowed credibility and some of that borrowed authority. So what we've done is I don't think we'll announce the actual partner yet, because I think it's a pretty big deal. But we have been able to establish a partnership with a very, very large and established luggage brand. So they're going to be providing us with prizing for some contests. We're going to be able to call them the official luggage of Firsthand. And essentially, in our marketing materials and press releases, we'll get to announce that we are working with them. So, the trade press and, our unpaid and earned media, the fact that we're partnering with this brand just gives us a lot more credibility than we would have if we didn't have them, if we were just kind of going out on our own for the initial launch. So that's my big thing, and that's probably my biggest recommendation if you are looking to start a new company, start a new brand, start a new product, is look first to partners, people that you can work with to be able to, essentially get more of a foot in the door for your earned media, that you have a credible brand working with you. What else are we doing though, Christopher?
Sure. Well, I mean, just to kind of add on to that, I think that goes back toward a maybe larger element of the strategy or a larger theme in what we're trying to do, which is not to be, hyper localized on our audiences. I think we've both got relatively decent sized audiences following us around the web, but for something like this, that's just not enough. We need to get into or in front of rather new people, new potential customers who might not already be aware of us, especially because, like you said in the question, it is a sort of specialized product. So, maybe it's only worth, maybe only applicable to 10% of our respective audiences, but to, a partner or something, it's probably, a much larger portion of their audience, since that audience is kind of focused on our niche. So something that I've been sort of thinking about and kind of drafting around ideas for is how to get in front of new audiences. And I think the partnerships are definitely the biggest part of that, but also kind of figuring out, okay, where can we do guest blogs? Where can we appear on other people's podcasts? Are there conferences that we can partner with or sort of piggyback on as potential places to launch our product? So really just figuring out, the content marketing is going to be a big portion of that, but that's kind of on our site. So people already have to be coming there. So I think really our first and our most important step is going to be getting people to be aware of us and, generating that traffic and generating that interest up front. So we can sort of see, once we do dive headfirst into content marketing, it'll be good to have an audience that we can test against and see what's successful and what's not, rather than, publishing 50 blog posts that all have 0 page views each. That's kind of useless.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that answers one of the major questions on what we're working on. There are of course other things we're doing. Obviously, we want to do some paid media,
which again sort of ties back into getting this in front of people who aren't already aware of us, which I think is ultimately, at least for this first these first couple months, if not first couple years, I think that's going to be the essential element of this, because really the product works on a smaller scale, but it really gets most interesting when we have a lot of people using it. So it's really, how do we get a lot of people to be aware of this so we can get them converting into customers?
Exactly. Yeah. We don't want our first customers to feel like they're the only people using it. It's like we want to ideally have, a decent number of customers all starting to use the service at the same time.
Yeah, because that's going to let us, hire the guides on the ground because we've got enough volume for them, and to have a bunch of different guides. I mean, not to talk too much about the product, but if we can only, get enough questions in to support one guide getting paid consistently, that means you're only getting one opinion every time you ask a question. It's all going to come from the same person. So a big part of this is really like building it up so we can not necessarily afford to, but so it makes sense to hire multiple guides. You can get a diversity of opinions as you ask your questions and things like that. So it has implications on sort of the marketing and the financial side, but also it's going to help us make the product better to have more people using it.
All of which is to say, as we've discussed, we are trying to go beyond our audiences that we have. But please, if you listen to this podcast or know me or Chris, please sign up. We definitely want you. We just don't want the entire burden to be upon you as our friends and fans.
Yeah. Now, we are not going to announce who the partner is, understandable, but I thought maybe we could take this opportunity to, announce our second city. What do you think?
Do it.
Cool. So we have decided that, already we're in Barcelona. Our second city is going to be Miami.
Sackville, Nova Scotia. Oh.
Did you not read the email I sent?
Oh, I thought we were just going to throw out names.
Well, yeah, so our second city is going to be Miami.
That's a good one, too. I was thinking Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. There's probably about 20, 30,000 people who live there.
Is that where the Sackville Bagginses live?
Correct, and it's almost entirely used car dealerships. So I thought that might be an interesting Venn diagram there. But no, I think Miami's a good city, too. I go there all the time. I quite enjoy it. So that makes sense. I don't know. I wish we had talked about this, but...
Now, it's also interesting, I don't know if you literally this time, I don't know if you saw the email, but now that we've got a second city that we're going to be launching in, a big part of this is going to be kind of figuring out what it takes to successfully launch a new city.
Okay, I do occasionally read your emails, Christopher.
I know.
I don't like you putting me on blast here. I read the email. I just don't feel like every email requires a response.
That's completely valid. I just didn't want to presume. No presumption here. It's a no presumption zone.
Now, are you referring to the email that is new city launch tasks?
That is the one.
Okay, that one was unread. I will admit.
So part of it is kind of figuring out, what it's going to take to launch a new city, not just in the hiring aspects, but also, kind of promoting to local tourism groups or, getting paid ads in local tourist media and things like that. Potentially, do we host a launch party? What does it take to take a city from zero to launched?
Mm-hmm.
With Barcelona, our first city, we didn't really go through a launch process there. And maybe that's something that we, once we kind of nail Miami, we can go back and try to figure out Barcelona as if we were starting from scratch. That was more of a function of that's kind of where I built it. So it grew more organically. But we want to have a somewhat repeatable process for getting into new cities because that's going to make it a lot easier to scale that up and get in more places. Miami is our second city. We're also going to be doing a trial in Bangkok. And I don't know if that's going to be a city that's publicly accessible, but I'm traveling to Asia later this year for a conference in Bangkok. And there are going to be a lot of entrepreneurs and investors and things like that there. So I thought it might be useful to kind of launch there, even if it's only a temporary thing for a couple months, and then we close down after the conference. But as a way to sort of get us into a new market, test out more of the product, and also get it in front of potential influencers, potential investors, people who kind of could help us propel the product forward beyond just being customers. Yeah,
well, it's interesting. I think what we could think about is something that Uber has done when they launch in new cities. Often they'll do, for a period of a couple weeks, free Uber rides for a bit as part of a launch to kind of test volume and interest. And that's something that we could think about as well. If we're doing a trial city, maybe opening it up as free for a bit so people can get used to it and try it out. This is just an idea I'm saying out loud right now. I haven't actually given it any thought, but it's something to think about. How do we test out markets before we do the full kind of plunge into them?
Yeah. And also I think the idea of an event market is interesting, right? Like, maybe there's a conference being held in, I don't know, Boise, Idaho or something. And maybe that's not a city that can sustain itself quite yet while we're so young. It wouldn't make sense to have guides working constantly. But, maybe for the weeks leading up to that conference and during that conference, whatever it might be, maybe it makes sense to do a temporary kind of launch, a pop-up launch in that city.
That's an amazing idea. We should think about tech companies that have conferences outside of large cities. Outside of your typical city. So obviously San Francisco, probably not one that we'll launch into, or even San Diego right away. Obviously, we'd love to get there. But if we know that maybe there's a tech conference happening in Glasgow or in Indianapolis, like places like that, where we know there's going to be a surge of people who are also technically savvy, it could be interesting to pop up around those.
Yeah. And it's not to say that we would never be in those cities.
No. We'd love to be everywhere.
But, while we're so young, we have to kind of be careful about, where we put our energy, and where we put our money. If we're so small that people just aren't aware of us and they don't use the service, that's not useful. But if we can, get a lot of growth from a specific event, kind of shut down until, we're a lot bigger and can scale into that city, I think that could be an interesting way to generate some interest.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe even just doing around PAX. So PAX East, PAX West, PAX Australia. That could be interesting as well.
Mm-hmm. A lot of opportunities, and PAX especially travel industry conferences, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So basically, you asked, what we were doing for marketing. I think we're taking it pretty traditionally. Your basics. We want to make sure this is good, and of course, because as we've talked about before, where this isn't something where we have sought out huge investor money. We don't have necessarily the funds to make that giant splash. We're taking it, more traditionally. Partnerships, PR, small paid media to just kind of get the ball rolling.
And I would really sort of emphasize that we're going to obviously have a social media platform and that kind of thing. Yeah. But I think until you have the audience, that kind of stuff just isn't as useful.
Yeah.
So really, we are going to be doing, more traditional things, paid ad buys, partnerships, all that kind of stuff. Because it's been done that way for so long because it works.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for somebody who's, maybe solo or with a partner creating a new startup like this to kind of, use what they know, which is Twitter and Facebook and that kind of thing. But, it's not totally useful. Or definitely, I don't think it's the most stable way or the most sustainable way to launch a new business.
Yeah. So there you go. Obviously, we'll be talking about this a lot more over the next few weeks. Our big launch is imminent, so we'll probably talk about that a bit more next week. But that's a little taste of what we're up to. Where can people go to find out more about Firsthand, Chris?
They can go over to askfirsthand.com, and that's got all the information there. We've got a blog with, I think, 2 posts in there. So definitely, take a look there. Tell your friends. And if you've got ideas for cities that you think we should be targeting over the next couple of months, please, feel free to shoot one of us an email, Chris at askfirsthand.com, Joel at askfirsthand.com. You know how to reach us if you've been listening.
Yeah, and obviously, not just about new city stuff. Anything, if anything we've talked about is interesting to you, if you'd like to know more, if you'd like to learn more about what we've talked about or have advice for us, or any potential partners we should be looking into after you've checked out the website and you get a sense of what we're talking about, please just send us a note. We are all ears.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, I think that should about wrap things up
Your picks.
Gear picks, yeah. Let's do that. I actually have, let me pull up my Amazon. I feel like I actually have something I wanted to talk about.
So every week we like to share things that we have bought recently on Amazon. We put the links in our show notes at notarealjob.com/episode 105, or episode-105 rather, and notarealjob.com/gear, which has the entire archive of everything that we've ever recommended. And if you buy through the links on our site, it's going to be a little referral link. It's going to give us a couple pennies, which we really appreciate. So this week, I am going to put in the ultra slim Avito 8,000 milliamp hour dual USB 2.1A and 1A, that's amps, portable power bank. It's a super slim bank. It's probably about, I don't know, maybe 0.6 centimeters, something like that thick. Maybe about 6 or 7 inches long by about 4 inches. And it's great. So 8,000 milliamp hours is enough to charge an iPhone, I think, like 5 times. If you're somebody who uses the new MacBook, which can be powered by a USB battery, which is really exciting, this can give that a full charge as well. I don't have that yet, but I'm really excited for the day that I do. Anyway, for a limited time only, they have promo pricing up. So it's actually only $20. The same company has a 4,000 milliamp hour, which they've had for a while, and that one's like $30. So this is a really great deal, limited time only. And I would definitely say if you're in the market for a battery that's going to last you all day, if not a couple days, this is a really great option.
Neat.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Cool. I'm going to put in a book called 1 + 1 = 3, a masterclass in creative thinking.
Now, Joel, can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
The title is a lie.
Right. It's, yeah.
So you know it was a lie, but you still want to recommend it to our listeners.
Look.
Do you hate our listeners?
You can't judge a book by its cover, Christopher, nor its title, nor its themes.
See, I haven't heard the latter two.
You have to judge a book by its weight and its typeface.
Okay. And it succeeds on those counts?
It's quite short, and the typeface is pretty standard. Okay. So no, I honestly, this was an elaborate troll. What this book is, though, it's by Dave Trott, advertising legend. His big thing is predatory thinking and how to outthink and outsmart your competition. So this book is very straight to the point about creativity and how to think better and think smarter when it comes to all things, but especially advertising, how to outthink your competitor. So it's a great book. I read it. It's very short. I'm putting the Kindle edition in the show notes because honestly, it's very, very, very quick read. So for $8 or $7.50, actually, you get the Kindle edition. This is kind of a read it in one sitting sort of book. I read it on a plane ride, and you'll learn a lot. And it's a great read. Read everything by Dave Trott if you want to know more about advertising, though, by the way.
So would you say that Dave Trott is hot to trot? No? Just me?
Why don't you do the rest of the housekeeping, Christopher?
Sure. Actually, I do want to recommend one other thing before we go. This is not available on Amazon, but it's probably not going to be available for too much longer, just because of the nature of what it is. And it's Monocle's The Escapist, which is like a 200-page. I don't really know how to describe it. It's a magazine, but it's outside of Monocle's normal publishing schedule. And it's also kind of a different format, different paper, everything like that. More long form pieces rather than current events. And basically what the Monocle team did was they went through and picked, I think, 9 or 10 different cities that are maybe a little less well known or a little more off the beaten path. Cities in all of the major continents, except for Antarctica, of course. But some really interesting reportage on, some of these lesser known tourist destinations and kind of the interesting things happening in those cities culturally, in terms of design, technology, things like that. So highly recommended. It will probably be off newsstands relatively soon. So if you can find a copy, definitely get your hands on it. Honestly, reading it and just kind of the the level of detail and just how beautiful it is. It's like, man, if we could do content marketing with an unlimited budget, I would hope that it would be basically exactly like this.
Now, will this ship to me? Can I buy it on the internet?
Yeah, you can. I believe you can buy it at monocle.com.
I'm going to buy this right now.
I don't know how much it is, probably around $20 US.
Yeah, it's £10 plus shipping.
And it's beautiful. I mean, it's, 200 pages, full color photos. It's really great, really highly recommended. And also, not to keep going on, I know we're into the housekeeping now, but Monocle is also a really interesting study of how they do native advertising in a way that I think makes it very clear that it's advertising, but with all of the kind of thoroughness and designiness and, just really, really well done reportage that Monocle is known for. But doing that in partnership with brands. So there's a really interesting Airbnb insert, actually. They've got a full page spread, and then there's like a little magazine, a mini magazine stuck in there where the Monocle team like interviewed different Airbnb hosts. And it's just really, really cool. So even if you're just kind of interested in advertising and the rise of native advertising and content marketing in particular, I would say this magazine, but also pretty much anything Monocle does, is interesting from that perspective.
Now, I have a question. Honestly, it might be a concern. I attempted to buy this issue, and it's asking for both my forename and my sewer name, and I don't think I have either of those.
I believe that's British for first name and
sewer name,
second name. Yeah.
So I should put Joel and then like Joel
Christopher.
Okay.
Yeah, because that is your second name, right?
It is my second name. If we were going in order between first name, middle name, and last name,
first, second, and third.
Yeah, it would be Joel Christopher.
Perfect.
Great. Now people know my middle name, which is basically all they need to steal my identity.
Pretty sure we've discussed that before.
Did I tell you that Wrong Joel? Have we talked about Wrong Joel on the podcast before?
I think we have. Okay. I'm pretty sure we have.
So just to recap, there are a lot of Joel Kellys out there. I met one of them on Twitter. I would consider us Twitter pals. People also named Joel Kelly, who I get a lot of their email because I have I have first name, last name at gmail.com. So
that'll keep the spammers from getting to you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a genius. So anyway, I get a lot of email from different people. Like, I get rental agreements, I get job application responses, everything like that. One of these dumb, I won't say the word, signed up for Ashley Madison. So now my Gmail is like in the Ashley Madison hack. Like, luckily, obviously not my credit card information or anything, but if you do a search, I turn up in the hack as having an Ashley Madison account.
And
which obviously, obviously I had an Ashley Madison account, Christopher. I'm a married man. We all do. But I didn't use my Gmail.
There you go. What a dummy.
I used Joel Kelly Madison at gmail.com for that.
As you would. That's the logical email to use.
Exactly.
Oh,
anyway.
Wow. Fun for you.
It's fantastic. I'm really excited about it.
All right. Anyway, for real now, some housekeeping. You can find us all over the web. NotARealJob.com has pretty much everything you need, links to everything you need, like our Twitters, at Chris Van Patten, at Joel Kelly, at Narjcast. That's NARJ. We're on iTunes and Stitcher, and we'd love if you listen to the show on either of those platforms, please leave us a review. Even if you don't, you can leave a review, which is great. So that is notarealjob.com/iTunes or /Stitcher. We both have websites, chrisvanpatten.com, joelkelly.ca, and of course, askfirsthand.com. We'd love for you to visit, give us your thoughts, all that good stuff. If you have questions or concerns or advice or anything related to the show that you want to talk to us about, notarealjob.com/contact is going to have a form you can use. Or if you have something you want us to answer on the show, notarealjob.com/questions. And I think that is going to do it for us. Did I miss anything?
No, you didn't. And again, I apologize for the audio quality. Everything will be far, far better next week. I'll make next week's audio twice as good as normal to make up for it.
Gonna turn on the audio boost level.
Exactly, yeah, and I'm gonna press the turbo button on my computer.
Nice. All right. Talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone. Love you all.